And we're back with another episode of Franchise My Business, the podcast for franchisors, hosted by franchisors. You know who I am, Kevin Oldham. I'm your host. This show's not about me, it's about our guests on Thursday. And every Thursday, we talk to generally a founder of an emerging franchise system. I think you guys know that I love all of our guests. I love hearing the stories, but the ones that I resonate most with are businesses that are founded out of something that's deeply personal. Because when you found a business, you launch a business based on something like impact on your family or society or whatever your big why is, it really drives people to join into your mission. And so I'm excited to have today's guest because he's got some really cool hobbies. Like he just became a certified pilot. He's a wingsuit pilot with over 1,000 parachute jumps, and he's still alive to talk about it. I'm sure he's going to say it's super, super safe when you train. But moreover, we have the CEO of Natural Life Franchise on. His name is Gabriel Suarez, and he founded this business because his younger brother had juvenile arthritis and was looking for a lot of kind of more natural ways to help his brother. It was the inspiration behind this entire business. So I'm going to shut up. We're going to welcome Gabriel to the show. Welcome, sir. How are you?
Thank you. I appreciate your time today, and I'm doing great.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. I want to get to your founder story, and then we'll start talking about like hobbies and family and stuff like that. But let's talk about your brother and how you decided to found this company and the driving forces behind it, and then we'll get into kind of like what you guys do in the franchise space.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like you said in the intro there, there's a lot of internal motivation behind this brand. So my youngest brother was born and still has uncurable juvenile arthritis. It's a disease that's pretty rare, but if you hit the lottery, there's no cure for it to this day. Lots of treatments. And so I grew up a lifestyle with my family where that was kind of the focus and the core of the family is figuring out how to create an effective treatment for my brother. And my parents took him from expert to expert around the nation, talked to everyone that claimed they knew how to provide relief. And my brother, over the years, grew tired of trying treatment after treatment to get temporary relief, if any. Surely every time his body would adapt, or for one reason or another, the treatments would become ineffective, and he would be back to, his very handicapped self
Mhm.
when the arthritis would have flare-ups, which was common when he wasn't under any treatment.
Mm.
So as he got a little older and he was more savvy to doing research and learning about the resources in the world, he started making me aware of natural botanicals and plants that he was reading about that might help his problems. So then he started trying to get his hands on stuff and started making his own little contraptions, and I got to live through that. And it got me interested in like helping him find the right solution. And as I started kind of trying to assist in this process,
Hmm.
I realized that there's so much good out there that's all natural and grows out of the earth essentially and does great things, and nobody either knows about it or has access to it.
Hmm.
And it's almost a shame that we only have one option, which I'm not against as a synthetic solution when that's the right solution, a prescription drug, even sometimes some other Western medicine style type of treatment. But the fact that we don't have the option to choose a natural option or essentially Western medicine type of option, I thought wasn't right. And as I'm helping my brother, realized, well, everybody needs access to this stuff.
Hmm.
And there came the idea of let's create like a natural pharmacy. We'll call it a wellness store. We'll stock it with all kinds of natural solutions and create an outlet for people to go to when the orange pill bottle isn't working out like they were
Yeah.
hoping, or the long list of side effects is actually catching up with them, or many other reasons. Some people just, the treatment a doctor recommends just isn't effective, and a natural alternative could be.
Hmm.
So for whatever reason everybody has, we thought let's open the first natural life and create that natural outlet. And then that's what got us today to where we are today. And it's always really been about creating education and access to these resources. So people either don't know they exist or don't know where to get them. And we try to fix both of those problems.
Yeah, that's cool. And also, like, it can be also a confusing landscape with a lot of misinformation too. Like if you go on the internet and you start looking for homeopathic or natural cures for fill in the blank, you don't know what's fact or fiction. And ultimately it's like, because I've used some like CBD and things like that. I have autoimmune disease psoriasis. I'm totally flared up right now because it's winter here in Kansas City. It's like it's terrible, right? And so I've always searched for cures, like different things, and went through all the medical stuff, prescribed types of solutions, and in some cases they actually could have made me worse, right? Like immune suppression, immune system suppression, and things like that, where you could, you know, had to get tuberculosis tests like every 6 months. I'm like, no, we're not going to do that. Like, I'm going to go try this natural path. And when you get out into that natural path, it can be confusing. So I think it's really cool that you guys have like kind of I'll just say kind of a patient focused, educational component, right? Because once people understand that there's these resources that are available and maybe they can have a conversation with somebody that has, maybe seen somebody that's been in their shoes, although your brother's shoes are very rare, but other issues that people deal with. Let's just say anxiety. That's a big one that a lot of Americans deal with. Anxiety. Hey, I've got
Yeah.
anxiety. I've tried the, fill in the blank prescriptions and they don't work, or I don't like how they make me feel, right? Cool. There's alternatives. And here's a trusted resource. So that's really, really cool. How many locations do you guys have today?
Today we have 27 territories.
Awesome. Awesome. All the United States, or you trickled up, or
Yeah, only
yeah,
United States. We span across 10 states right now.
nice.
Now, fingers crossed, that'll be 11 states just in a few days. We have somebody that's really close to joining the family,
Yeah,
and we're trying to, we're entertain prospects regularly. We're at that kind of beginning stages of kind of accelerating growth and getting more attention. We
that's
launched
awesome.
it in the early 2020.
And you guys, when people go into your stores, are they all your products, or are they your products plus third parties that you're selling? Like, what does it look like when somebody walks into a Natural Life location?
Yeah, when somebody walks into a store, they're going to see products from under the Natural Life line, as
Okay,
well as all the other well-known, respected manufacturers in some of the more popular fields.
sure.
So we don't have just our brand, but we do have our brand along with everybody else's brand.
Yeah,
And our brand is usually competitively priced, and has better margins for the franchisee. And it's where we try to usually steer a customer once we have their trust. But a lot of times, it's easy to gain somebody's trust when we have what they already saw on social media or
yeah,
on somebody else's recommendation. So if all the big reputable companies manufacture anything in our space, we carry them along
that's
with
awesome.
ours.
So I own a business called the Smoothie Shop and Supplements. We sell way more smoothies than we do supplements, just curated line. And one of the things that we've done is we've also created a few of our own SKUs, mostly like protein, because that's one of the main ingredients that goes in our smoothies. And I'm curious as to if you've seen this as well, but supply chain issues in just our raw ingredients to manufacture our supplements and things like that. I know that you're doing a lot in like CBD, so maybe you can have that like grown here. It's not coming from Asia or somewhere, right? But have you guys had any like major supply chain disruptions in manufacturing your own stuff basically since the past 3 years, like we have?
Yeah, it's interesting. Yes and no. We have
Yeah,
not had any issues with supply chain of the actual products that
no,
people consume because our industry is still growing and it's young. There's not a huge demand yet, and it is growing, but awareness is exponentially growing every day, but it's still at a minimal compared
yeah,
to, at how many people aren't aware. But funny enough, the packaging side of our products is
yeah,
where we have had supply chain issues. So
yeah,
it's sad to say that sometimes we've had products delayed on coming out or being released, not because the wellness ingredients are missing or the supply chain, but because the cap on the bottle is
yeah,
backed up by 3 weeks.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's
It's a
where we
weird
have
time.
experienced that.
Like we're having a hard time with cups. Like that's a problem when you run a smoothie shop, getting reliable supply of like this. We're not having a hard time. Like you can go get cups. It's the consistency of the cups. Like we designed a branded cup that we could print on, and they stopped making that. It was paper, so we went to plastic, and now it's like every time I go into one of our stores, I'm like, what is going on with our cup situation? And it's all just supply chain stuff. It's crazy, you know? And so,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
those
funny
things,
about that.
yeah, packaging's actually a thing. If you're listening, packaging is a thing right now. Raw ingredients are starting to catch up, and there's all sorts of other weird things. Okay, let's talk about your super weird hobbies because um, if you're watching on video, I'm 48. I skateboard still, martial artist. I'm actually having surgery a week from today to remove a bone fragment, and so I'm going to be laid up. And I'm going to go ahead and say my hobbies are nothing in terms of people look at me and they're like, "Well, that's kind of moderately dangerous." Yeah, but I'm on the ground. And both of your hobbies, dude, you're doing crazy things up in the air. So talk to us about like your big accomplishment that you just notched up, and then let's talk about how you jump out of perfectly good airplanes with just like a suit on, because I think that's nuts as well. So um, you're a recent pilot.
Yes, sir. So for the past couple of years, while juggling the growth of natural life, I've been very part-time doing pilot school.
Yeah,
I figured it long term, I love the idea of having access to everything, via aviation versus having to drive in like private aviation. So first step is to learn how to fly the planes before you can go, into looking at owning one day. So that's I checked that box off just about 10 days ago.
that's
Two
awesome.
years of part-time pilot school, and now I got my license and can fly small, conservative planes, and from
Yeah,
there we'll grow.
dude,
So
that's
it's a lot of
awesome.
fun.
And then you jump out of some perfectly amazing planes. So let's talk about that. Like, what is that
Yeah.
hobby? I think I've seen it on TV once and played a video game with it
So
too.
oh, it's funny. That's funny. So I never, thinking about what I do now, it does sound crazy when you think of it and kind of state it as it is today. But it was very baby steps to be, flying these wingsuits and all that cool stuff that,
Yeah.
I'm sure we're going to talk about. Back in college, I think it was, some friends dragged me for a tandem skydive, as a lot of people could say they've done.
Yeah.
Not everybody, but it's a relatively more common thing. Did a tandem skydive, and back then I drove a motorcycle. Was young. I, like to have fun, go
hmm
fast, all that good stuff.
Yep.
I thought it was great. Took a year or two later, another set of friends are going skydiving. I'm like, oh, I'll go do another tandem. And, fast forward 3 or 4 years and maybe three tandems later. So
Okay.
every a year or so, some group of friends is going and I tag along. I'm on the third one of these, and I'm like, how hard is it to not have this guy attached to me? I mean, I don't really want to skydive all the time, but it'd be cool to. I've done this enough now with you strapped to me. I'm curious what it's like without you strapped to me. So then I get sold on. It's just a few of these steps and classes and a couple more jumps, and you'll do it with your own parachute. I was like, oh, why not? And that, it's always been kind of like, oh, what's the next little baby step? And that's ended up here. But I did that, and then I was like, well, now I'm only a few jumps from getting a skydiving license. Let me get that. And then, I'm like, well, now that I can do that, I can jump with other people. So let me try jumping with other people. It might be fun. And then I'm like, oh, that's a lot of fun. Let me go tag along on these group jumps more now. And then I'm like, well, now that I'm doing that, maybe I now I qualify to go to these like skydiving events where we do like organized, like
Oh,
fun
yeah.
jumps, like over the
Yeah.
beach and like
Yeah.
other cool stuff. And I'm like, oh, cool. And so now that I have enough jumps, I have enough jumps that I could try a wingsuit if I wanted to. Maybe I should try a wingsuit, And so it's just in that fast forward 10 years or
Yeah.
so, I've over 1,000 parachute jumps, and I mostly fly the wingsuit, whether I'm jumping out of an airplane or jumping off of a fixed object. And I do it, don't do it as often today. I have young kids, as we talked about. I have twins that are 2 years old, and I have a 6-year-old. But up until the twins were born, I was more active,
Yeah.
and I still do it part time,
Do you?
or
Yeah.
when I can here. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I pick my jumps on more conservatively,
Sure.
and I do everything on a much more conservative calculations.
hmm
But with the experience I have and the gear and everything that I've been doing, I feel like I'm as long as I play it conservatively, it's relatively equal to a lot of just daily driving we do every day and things
Yeah.
like that. And as far as risk, tolerance.
And you're absolutely right. It's like daily driving, dude. With so many distracted drivers and things like that. I'm like, things that I used to think are relatively dangerous, and then I compare them to driving down the highway and somebody's like doing this and they don't have autopilot. They're on their phone. I'm like, okay, we're just playing roulette out here anyway. So yeah, kudos to you, man. Young family, younger business, lots of jumps. What else is going on in your life? I mean, that's got to keep you
So
busy. It's
I
like,
saw you pull that skateboard out there. So I also skateboard. I was
yeah,
a sponsor skater back in high school,
heck
and
yeah,
then went to college and kind of put it a little bit on the side. But I had a half pipe or a mini ramp, small half pipe in my backyard
yeah,
for like all through college and even a few years into after college.
mm-hmm,
So that's cool.
yeah.
Still have a bunch of skateboards in my garage, a big stack of them,
Do you?
and ride it from time to time.
A lot of people don't
But
know
other
that.
than that, oh, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say a lot of people don't know because I don't know. Maybe I've talked about it once, but my mom owned a skateboard store, and that's really part of what when I was a kid, like she opened one. Her and my dad, back in 83, 84, back when Tony Hawk was coming up, Steve Caballero, all these guys, right? When boards went from narrow
Yeah.
to wide, and I lived in Topeka, Kansas, and you couldn't buy one there, right? And so they solved that problem, and but unlike you, it sounds like I took a 30-year break and then picked it back up as an adult. So my question is, have you continued to like from your childhood through now, have you just kept your skills up?
Yeah, I mean, not up to 100%,
Right, but still
but
like
I've
you had a
kept
board and
skating.
you'd
Yeah, I
actually
mean,
ride. Yeah.
the longest break, maybe 6 months,
Okay.
my
Good
entire
for
life.
you, man. It's so good for and
So,
and people don't know this if you're not a skateboarder, but I like to say it's very similar to any other kind of Zen type of sport where you have to focus 100% on what you're doing because if you don't, you can get hurt pretty easy, right? And I love those types of athletic pursuits because for me they're very meditative. Like I've taken so many pictures at our skate park, go with my son or whatever, and I'll be like, this is church. Like this is almost a holy place for me where I'm reconnecting with my youth and I get that alive feeling of an 8-year-old child, right? And I'm just free flowing and I'm paying attention. You're locked in because, if you're trying to, like, I got my ollie back last summer. That was a huge thing for me. And I'm like, okay,
nice.
well,
Congratulations.
thank you. I'm really proud of my ollie again. Like it's not, it's not as awesome as it used to be and graceful, but I'm leaving the ground and it looks good. And so, but those types of things, like to me, they're one of my superpowers as an entrepreneur. And I don't know about you, but like my hobbies have have directly contributed to me being a better leader, a better husband, a better father, like all of these things. And somebody, a coach of mine and a good friend tried to tell me that I needed hobbies like 3 years ago. And I was looking at him like he's crazy. Like, I'm like, dude, I don't have time. And now I realize that I still really don't have a lot of time, but I need to prioritize that. Because if I'm going to bring things to our franchisees and our clients and, our customers and everybody that we serve, we got to be good ourselves. Do you feel like the same way? Particularly because you got 3 kids, you got twins. It's like chaos when you walk in the door, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's stressful just thinking about whole balancing and prioritizing for me, but I do the best I can. My biggest challenge, biggest challenge is finding more hours in the day. If you figure that out, please call me.
You can't. You can't.
I do the best I can.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't get enough sleep, but I prioritize the kids. That's number one.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's a juggle of business and hobbies.
Yeah.
But business gets a little more usually, hobbies get a little less. And
Yeah.
but sometimes do it in spurts. Like I might work really hard for a period amount of time, but then I'll go take 2 or 3 days, 3 days off and go do my hobby like
Yeah.
heavily somewhere, like fun, like exotic destination or something.
Yeah.
And then come back and work really hard for some time. So, but I definitely have always had a lot of fun like doing activities since I was young, and I've done a decent job of maintaining that. And now I kind of like make that a priority. Like don't put that down because it's a lot harder to pick things back up, and time just goes by. Next thing you know, you're old and you're like, oh man, I haven't done anything in 20 years. And I feel like people that stay active, they don't age the same, and you can,
Hmm.
you could be 60 years old still skateboarding if
Hell
you
yeah.
keep skateboarding.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
tried to
not
start
gonna be
skateboarding at
ollieing, but I'll
60 and
probably
I
be like
didn't finish.
longboarding, right? Or whatever, cruising. And kind of that's like
Absolutely.
that's been my philosophy with all this stuff. Like this is an old man board I just showed you. It's got the soft wheels. In my trunk I keep a hard wheeled popsicle skate, trick board for when we're at the skate park. And I don't know, like with you and your life and me and my life being busy and such, like if I told my wife when I came home, hey, I'm going to go skateboarding just by myself and leave the kids and everything, like that wouldn't go over well, right? So what are some of the secrets I use? And entrepreneurs that are listening, if you're thinking about, hey, like I need a hobby or whatever, um, let's say you're a guitar player. If I were a guitar player, I would probably keep a guitar here so that, every once in a while throughout the day, I could pluck my guitar, right? I keep my skateboard here. Why? So I can do a hot lap around the building to make me feel alive. And maybe that's all I do that day, but I did something for me. And I think that I've found that one of the superpowers for a well-balanced life is to have some things that you're doing for yourself as an entrepreneur, particularly when you have a young family, particularly when you're running a business. All of these things are super, super important. And if you don't take care of yourself, then you can't bring the best to everybody else. And so it's a balance, man, and it's tough, but hobbies are cool. Thanks for sharing some weird hobbies with us. Some super cool ones,
Oh,
by the
you're
way.
welcome.
Like I love the wingsuit thing. Did you do you ever bring that thing out just to freak people out, like on an airplane, commercial airplane, flight? Have you ever flown with it in your bag and they're like, "What is
The
this thing?" And TSA
the
gets a little
wingsuit
concerned.
is yeah. I mean, I when I fly with it, a lot of times on my way to an event, if I'm going to be using the
Uh
wingsuit and
huh.
the parachute, I'll bring it on the plane because I don't want to lose my
Yeah,
luggage and then it ruins my
for
whole
sure.
trip because that's not something I can just replace when I land. So I'll pack all my clothing under the plane. If I lose that, I can deal with it, and
Yeah.
I'll bring what I need, like my parachute wingsuit, on the plane. So TSA regularly it's like,
It's
what
a
the
it's a
heck is
it's like
this?
a red light. It's like, dude, what are you doing with a wingsuit
And I
on a
have
freaking Southwest flight?
I have to bring a card with me that explains how the reserve parachute can't has to be packed by a certified packer, and they can't open it, or if not, like it can't be closed again. And then so that they don't open the
Yeah,
reserve parachute,
yeah.
because that would be, and then there's a whole thing about like don't use sharp objects, like you need to look in
Oh
here,
my
and like just I have to
gosh.
give them this kind of like before you touch that, please read this. So it's kind of fun, and
Is it
then but I'm ready
100%
for
of
it.
the
I got the
time?
card on hand.
Is it 100% of the time when you?
95. My home airport now knows me, like where I fly out of. I live in a small town,
Right in
so they're
Tallahassee?
like, "Oh,
Yeah.
it's you again with the weird." Yeah, in Tallahassee, that's not a problem. And then a funny story would be one time I had my parachute out of a bag just on me like a backpack, and I'm getting on the plane. Just because I didn't have like I forget why it wasn't being carried inside of a container or like in an enclosed bag. So I have it. I have the backpack on with just the parachute. I'm walking to the plane, and then I'm getting onto my seat, and the person next to me looks at me and is like, "Is that a parachute you're wearing?" And I look at him with the most serious face I could make, and I say, "Yeah, they gave it to me at the door. Did you not get one?" And the guy, just for a millisecond there, the guy's face is dropped and he's pale and he's like super confused. And then we laugh about it, but it was a pretty funny moment there.
Dude,
But
that's actually awesome. That's
it's an
awesome.
interesting thing.
Yeah. I had a another weird thing about me is I'm a race car driver, and they're $500 race cars. It's called
That's
24
super
hours.
cool.
Yeah, 24 hours of lemons, and I got five partners on our race team, and one of our guys was flying. Uh, I think it was Spirit or Frontier, one of those places that charges you for everything, right? Nickel, and I'm a Southwest guy, so I'm not used to that. But he had his helmet, he had his racing helmet, and I think it was going to cost money or something to store it. And so for landing and takeoff, he put it on his head and he sent us pictures. And so he's got like a full race helmet on, sitting in his airline suit, and passengers got to be looking at him like, what is this dude doing? And believe it or not, there's not restrictions, I believe, against wearing a helmet on an airplane, on a commercial airplane. So you can do that if that's something you want to do. Go ahead and wear a helmet.
That's funny.
All right, my friend. If people want to learn more about your business or you, where's the best place for them to go online and sync up? Maybe somebody's thinking about getting into the natural medicine business.
Absolutely. So you can find us at naturallifefranchise.com. And if you're curious about just helping yourself some natural products and, even just from a consumer shopping standpoint, you can find it all from naturallifefranchise.com. But we have an online retail storefront at shopnaturallife.com, SHOP naturallife.com. they link to each other. You can find each site within each site. But that's the easiest way to find us. My email is gabriel@shopnaturallife.com. And I love telling people about Natural Life, so look forward to hearing from anyone.
Awesome. And if you're driving, we'll drop those in the show notes. Please don't take the wheel right now. Gabriel, definitely appreciate your time. Moreover, I enjoyed learning about you and your fun hobbies. I think that as you can tell, I think it's important. I've benefited from it. You've benefited from it. So if you're not listening and you're not doing some things for yourself, figure out it doesn't have to be big, 5-10 minutes a day, but something you do for yourself that will make you a sharper and better entrepreneur. Until next time, I'm your host, Kevin Oldham. Have a phenomenal week. Be well.